today. Well, you mentioned it out, yeah. I couldn't believe it.
Okay.
Actually.
Afternoon all. Welcome to Cabinet meeting on Wednesday the 17th of June. We'll move straight into the items. Item 1, apologies. Apologies received from Councillor Deborah Davis and Councillor Rheoli'r. Councillor Hughes is meant to be joining us but isn't here at the present time. Other councillors are online. So I'll just join us. So we'll take any more apologies if they come back in or belatedly. Item 2, any declarations of interest, colleagues? Can't see anything online either. As ever, colleagues, if you start to go through the papers and realise there is an interest you need to declare, just do it there and then, please. Or speak to the monitoring officer to, and Councillor Hughes just joined us online. Or speak to the monitoring officer after this meeting. Item 3, minutes from the May Cabinet. Any issues or questions? Can I have a proposer and a seconder? Councillor Clark and Councillor Stella Gorton. Thank you, colleagues. Item 4, the revenue budget outturn position. This is obviously a key item for any council, and it notes our outturn position and major variances throughout the year. Note the reserves transferring as set out in section 6 of the report and the resulting level of council's general earmark reserves. Note the school's outturn position on individual and total school reserves, but beyond the technical detail, this is an important moment to reflect on what we've achieved together in the past financial year, the challenges we continue to face, and the responsibility we carry as a council serving our communities. So just to cover the headline positions, at a time when councils across Wales are facing some of the most difficult financial conditions in a generation, the authority has delivered a modest underspend of circa 4.1 million at the end of the year, equating to 0.9% of our £428 million budget. This is a significant achievement, reflects strong financial management, and we must not make the mistake this is a surplus resource. It is a story of resilience against rising demand in our services and complexity in being a fast-growing city. Across our frontline services, we continue to see very real and growing pressures in social care, education, homelessness. Demand is rising, complexity is increasing, and costs outpace the resources available. This has resulted in a net overspend of 2.8 million in our service areas, excluding schools. So what we actually see in human language, more children requiring high-cost placements and support, increasing complexity in adult care, continuing acute pressure in homelessness services, and a growing demand on additional learning needs and specialist education provision. These are not isolated issues, just hitting Newport. They reflect wider challenges being experienced across all of Wales. Local authorities are grappling with the same demand-led pressures driven by demographic change, cost inflation, and the lasting impacts of effects of the previous 10 years. So we have achieved the overall position through careful, proactive financial management. Additional funding has also helped, particularly through Welsh Government grants. We have also benefited from a favourable position on capital financing and the council tax surplus, but just as importantly, we have taken action. We've delivered 4.5 million of savings during the year, 95% of our target, which is a strong performance in such a challenging environment. Where savings have slipped, we've addressed this transparently and will carry forward a small balance into next year. Our schools, we recognise both the challenge and progress they are making. Schools reserves reduced slightly from 13.61 million to 13.05 million, demonstrating a modest total overspend of 558k. However, our schools remain in a comparatively strong position when set against the wider context. This is a testament to their leadership and making some tough decisions, which we know they do. Looking ahead, we must be equally clear. The financial look for 26-27 beyond will remain challenging. The approved 26-27 budget invested significantly in social care, additional learning needs, and temporary accommodation, in addition to inflationary costs that we continue to face. Ongoing demand in social care housing, uncertainty over pay awards and inflation, reliance on short-term late funding settlements, and uncertainty following the recent Senate elections, particularly around local government funding. And if I just dwell on that point temporarily, the new Welsh Government have made it pretty clear they're going to review the local government formula. They've said they've already started that work. We're looking for clarification and details of those changes and what to do, but they have signalled that they will be looking to make it, in their words, fairer to larger rural authorities. Obviously for Newport, that's a major concern. We're the fastest growing local authority in Wales, and we have significant population growth that has to be met, and we would have serious concerns around monies being transferred away from high growth areas to not only low growth areas, but declining populations. So we need to have that honest conversation with Welsh Government, the new Welsh Government, in the coming months. At the time, our reserves remain limited. Our general reserve stands at just 7 million, around 6% of our net budget, leaving little room for manoeuvre in the face of unforeseen shocks. That is why we must continue to take a measured and reasonable approach. The underspend we have achieved will not be rushed into immediate spending. Instead, we should accept the officer's recommendation to hold in reserves, at least for now, giving us the flexibility that financial position becomes clearer, particularly around the local government formula. This is about protecting the council's long-term stability and ensuring we can respond to the challenges ahead. At the same time, we are not standing still. And I've just come from a very honest, very forthright meeting with many businesses in the city centre. And I'm really pleased to announce that we will extend our business rate relief for the city centre businesses scheme, 25% of business rates. Let's be clear, that's the council stumping up the cost, alleviate the cost pressures on our small, medium-sized businesses in the city centre, which is a notable commitment by this council. It won't solve every problem, but we want to show our small and medium-sized businesses we do care and we do want to help them in these tough times. A strong local community underpins jobs, communities, and long-term stability of this city. And we hope this extension of the scheme will provide that support. So in conclusion, colleagues, the Outturn reflects a council that is holding its ground in challenging circumstances. The challenges ahead are considerable, which is why we continue to take difficult but necessary decisions to plan for the long term and to work collaboratively to ensure this council remains financially stable. I therefore ask this cabinet to note the Outturn position, which is subject to audit, and the major variances for the year. Note the reserves transfer respectively set out in section 6 of the report, noting the resulting level of the council's general earmark reserves. Note the school's Outturn and the position on the individual and total schools reserves. Accept the officer's recommendation to transfer the underspend and the prior underspend at this moment in time. Colleagues, any questions, comments, theories, observations? Councillor Dan.
Thank you, Leader. Yeah, it's just comments around what you've pretty much touched on with regards to pleasing more funding from the Welsh Government. You know, housing and homelessness is at the very top when it comes to the corporate risk register. And as you said, we're a rapidly, fast-growing city where we have Bristol on one end and we have Cardiff at the other end. And Wales in particular is pretty unmatched in terms of the growth that we're facing. So ensuring that we make changes at a local level as well and not stick to the status quo, as you alluded to, I think is very important. We've taken strides in doing that through the Housing Transformation Board, for instance, where we've looked at internal governance structures and ensuring that housing and homelessness is rare, brief and unrepeated. It's important that we focus on vulnerable individuals and families who are stuck in temporary accommodation. We know it's difficult for them, and we know that it's not just a financial risk, but it's also a social risk that we must always put our residents at the top of the decision-making chain. Thank you.
Councillor Clark.
Yeah, thank you, Leader. Yeah, a few points. I think I know you've covered it, but I think to reiterate the point about the concerns of the Welsh Government and looking about the fairer and rural authorities. And it's encouraging to say meetings and conversations will take place in the future because Newport is the fastest growing city in Wales. it is important that we continue the vision and the projection what we're doing in Newport, what this council is doing. So I think that's hugely important, and obviously I want to touch on the business rate relief scheme, the continuation of that, and the 25%. I think sort of, if people did know, they would know that we've been in discussions in this for a while, and what I don't want lost here is that a couple of social media posts have made this decision. This is hard work you've done, I've done, Emma and other councillors and other cabinet members, where we've been out at 7 o'clock in the morning, 10 o'clock in the morning, speaking to business owners, speaking to business traders, and listening to their concerns and listening to their worries. And I want to thank them. I want to thank the Nickies of the world, the Tracys, the Jacks, and many more business owners in the city centre. And I think if people spoke to them, they would know that for the last 18 months, 2 years, we've been pushing relationships with them. We've listened to them. We've had our moments with them. But by making a decision, and this decision, it says 25%, but there is a cost to this. And there's been many discussions about this, but we believe in our city centre. We believe in our city owners, our business owners. And I hope when this takes it further, I hope all parties in Newport will back this and get behind it, because it is important that not just the Labour Party, but every party in Newport gets behind this, because if they believe in our city centre, like we believe in our city centre, they should be backing this all the way through. So just bring that up.
Thank you, Councillor Clark. Colleagues, any other comments or queries or observations? Okay, I can't see anything online either. Can I have a mover in a second, please? Councillor Clark and Councillor Dan, thank you. Agenda item 5, the capital programme monitoring and additions. This is our final report of the financial year on capital activity, and provides us with an overview of the final amount of capital expenditure, I should say the previous financial year, incurred in the year compared with the allocated budget. As part of this, the report outlines the level of slippage and underspend incurred and provides an update on the level of available capital headroom. It also details the additions to the programme that have been identified and seeks our approval for these additions. The first section outlines the movement in the capital budget since the last capital strategy report was presented to Cabinet in February. The net value of additions and amendments to the current capital programme since then is 34.22 million. And a breakdown of these additions is given in Appendix A. We are required to approve these additions and amendments. As a result, these additions, as at March 26, the final budget for 25-26 was 74.6 million. Final costs for 25-26 was 66.3 million, introducing a 8.2 net variance. Of this variance, service managers and budget holders have confirmed that 7.2 relates to delayed progress with schemes, otherwise known as slippage. A further review of 26-27 capital programme was required to ensure that it reflects a realistic profile. Currently, the budget stands at nearly 108.8 million and will be a challenge to deliver. It is therefore necessary to reprofile this across the remainder of the programme to increase the chances of delivering against the budget and minimise the level of slippage reported in future years. The report also details the level of capital headroom currently available, which can be used to support new schemes and emerging priorities. This now stands at 27.8 million, having increased from the last time this was reported as a result of capital receipts received and additional grants which remain uncommitted, as well as the 18 million increase in borrowing headroom which was agreed in the February Cabinet. While this level of headroom may currently appear reasonable, there remains a need to tightly control its use so that Council is able to respond to critical issues as and when they emerge. This requires clear prioritisation of only the most pressing and urgent issues. Any opportunity to further increase headroom will need to be taken so as possible to support as many priorities as possible and ensure that sufficient funding exists to respond to any issues that do arise. In relation to prudential indicators, the report also details our PIs and our performance against them. We've complied with all our PIs with the exception of the percentage of the Council's capital financing budget of its net revenue budget. This has risen due to a technical accounting aspect associated with this indicator, as well as the 1.5 million one-off contribution towards capital finance costs, which were agreed as part of February Cabinet. Colleagues, we ask them now to approve these additional amendments detailed in the report totaling 34.2 million and to approve the slippage of 7.2 as detailed in the report. We are also required to note the authority's compliance with the prudential indicators which are included within the report. Any comments or questions on those changes or amendments? No. Can I have approval in a second, please? Councillor Clark and Councillor Down. Item 6, the Treasury Management Outturn report. The purpose of this report is to inform the Cabinet of its Treasury activities undertaken within the financial year 25-26, report on borrowing and investment activities during the year, provides an update outlining compliance against the agreed prudential indicators, and provides an outlook for the forthcoming year and medium term. The report is already considered by Governance and Audit Committee, who have provided no comments for the Cabinet's consideration. This report will ultimately go to full Council for approval. In the 25-26 financial year, the Council took 6 long-term loans totaling 40 million to uncover our refinance requirement. When interest rates dipped for a short time, as well as further 5 million from another local authority to cover up our capital programme funding requirements. The Council also took 5.1 million of sale-lex loans, which are related to specific energy projects where the savings generated by the schemes will cover the repayments. Despite this, up to the end of March 26, the Council's net borrowing was 143.4 million, a decrease from 156.2 million. This is because we took out 40 million of short-term borrowing for cash flow purposes at the end of the last financial year, which we were able to pay back early 25-26, and a number of equal instalment principal loans we repaid instalments over the course of the year. As a result of undertaking early borrowing, investments increased from 13.6 million to 27.4 million, and the authority has been able to reinvest this on a short-term basis. It's important to note that we expect the investment balances will reduce in the short term as reserves are being used as planned. The progress of the capital programme reduces the Council's internal borrowing capacity. Of the end year balance, 10 million continues to be held in long-term covered bonds to ensure the Council retains its professional client status, meaning it can access better borrowing rates. The report also details our PIs and performance against them. We have complied with all our PIs, with the exception of the one I mentioned before. This has arisen due to technical accounting, which I've already stated. Outlook for the next few years. Underlying need to borrow further as capital programme delivered reserves are used. There's a risk that remaining logos could need redeeming, and there's the potential that in replacing these loans will be at a higher rate than the Council is currently paying. The current economic geopolitical uncertainty does pose a key future risk. Just look at the news. Future borrowing will likely be more expensive, affecting affordability. Rates are currently higher than we built in the 26-27 capital treasury strategy. However, the conflict in the Middle East, which hopefully there's a peace deal, makes the outlook for rates are highly uncertain, and we'll have to undertake some work to understand the potential future impact of this. Forgive me, colleagues. Officers will monitor interest rates closely to ensure the best rates are accessed for any new borrowing in liaison with external Treasury advisors. I ask the Cabinet to note the report on the Treasury management activities for 25-26 financial year and provide any comments to Council. Any comments, queries, thoughts, observations? Anyone give me a break for 5 seconds? No? Cool. Thank you. Proposer and seconder. Councillor Clark and Councillor Spencer. Item 7, Property Services Implementation. Report. Is every single one of these report mine?
It seems that way, Lee, doesn't it?
Great. This report provides Cabinet with an update on the implementation of the new local authority trading company Custom Cymru and the project close down outcomes. Cabinet aware from the previous reports that the Council has established a LAPCO to assume responsibility for property services following the end of Newport North joint venture on the 31st of December 25. This followed a strategic review which began in late 2022 to identify a future delivery model aligned with our corporate priorities, improve efficiency, operational resilience and best value. Following stakeholder engagement, including with the workforce, the new company was branded Custom Cymru Property Services and became operational on the 1st of January this year. As detailed service specifications, staffing structure and business plan have been developed to support operations through to 31st of March 2029. Future progress will report through Cabinet and partnership scrutiny. A significant programme of transition work has been completed across key enabling areas, including digital, IT, HR, staffing, fleet, finance, legal, procurement and branding. A range of SLAs are now in place for the Council services and partners to support payroll, IT, GIS, legal, insurance, communications and website provision. In addition, the Council has strengthened its client-side function to oversee commission, contract management and performance. Can I just say this is a thrilling read as well. Following the successful transition of the property services function into a wholly owned Blackco Custom Company, the project has reached its close down phase. The report notes the project outcomes are delivering a major strategic transformation, providing the council with enhanced control, stronger governance, and sustainable funds in all the future property services. I asked Cabinet to note the successful completion of the property service implementation project and establishment of Custom Company Property Services as a wholly owned local authority trading company. This marks the transition from Newport North and giving the council greater strategic control, stronger governance, and improved alignment with corporate priorities, social value, fairness, and sustainability. Future performance, financial stability, and social value outcomes will continue to be monitored with reporting, partnership scrutiny, and Cabinet. And can I just also put on record my big thanks, and I've said this before, to officers who made this happen. It took a serious amount of commitment, hard work, diligence, late nights, a lot of emails, a lot of details to get this to this conclusion, and I want to place on record once again my big thanks to officers who made this happen. Colleagues, any comments, thoughts, queries, or questions? You're killing me. You're killing me here, guys. No. Okay. Approver and a seconder, please. Councillor Clark, Councillor Spencer. Oh, item 8 to me again. Corporate Risk Register. This is the Cabinet report on the Corporate Risk Register for 25-26. The report provides an overview of the Corporate Risk Register at the end of the year point 31st of March 26. The Corporate Risk Register includes all strategic risks which may prevent the achievement of the Council's priorities and delivery of services to Newport's communities. 13 risks were recorded in the Corporate Risk Register, 7 risks, severe risks, 6 major risks. All these details are included in the report for anyone to peruse at their leisure. 1 risk related to the pressure on adult services was reduced from 22 and 16, following the delivery of several activities, including the Pathways of Care's delay grant funding, which eased operational pressures by creating additional posts, increasing capacity across key areas of service. Throughout last year, Governor's Audit Committee have received quarterly updates on the Corporate Risk Register, and the committee's last meeting in May, the committee accepted the end of the year position of the Corporate Risk Register and made suggestions for updates to mitigating actions for the next review of risks, which will be included in the next report to Cabinet 26-27. I would like to thank G&A Committee, Governance and Audit, and all those members for their contribution, and the Chair and Deputy Chair particularly, to helping us, working with the Council to manage our risks, which all councils face at this time. I ask the Cabinet to consider and note the contents of the Corporate Risk Register and continue monitoring progress of actions taken to address risks identified in the report. I should ask, but I know what the answer is going to be. Does anyone have any points they want to raise? I can't say I'm hugely shocked. So, can we have a proposer and a seconder, please? Councillor Clark, Councillor Starr-Corton. Agenda item 9, investment zone update. The report updates the Cabinet on the South East Wales investment zone and implications for Newport. The report also seeks approval to enter into a memorandum of understanding for non-domestic rates retention as part of the investment zone. The investment zone is a 10-year programme worth £160 million of development funding. New non-domestic rates can also be retained and recycled by the council body for 25 years. The investment zone is focused on accelerating growth in advanced manufacturing digital technologies, principally the semiconductor cluster, which is based here in Newport, which everyone knows I bang on about all the time. And if people don't know what semiconductor means, that basically means building microchips which run the whole modern world. The programme is expected to support up to 4,000 new jobs, leveraging $500 million of private sector investment with the advanced manufacturing sector. We've successfully completed 5 gateway stages and ministerial approval has now been secured, moving us into the implementation and delivery stage. For Newport, the investment zone identifies Newport West and Imperial Park as a key growth site, with another 2 tax sites located at Cardiff Parkway and Cardiff South. Newport City Centre is noted as a potential strategic hub for digital and data-related development. Developing and supporting the supply chain support part of the initiative alongside skills development, ensuring that we enable our young people to access these good quality and well-paid jobs. Cardiff Capital Region as the corporate joint committee is the council body with the investment zone advisory board created to support the CJC with decisions. As already mentioned, the investment zone allows the county body to retain a proportion of the business rates generated from related new developments within the green tax sites. We are required to enter into a memorandum of understanding in relation to the collection, retention and use of the retained business sites. Whilst this MOU is not legally binding, it does establish the principles of rate retention model and how funding is reinvested. The report goes into more detail on funding, potential borrowing measures, but we are clear that we carefully consider the impact of all funding decisions to ensure the council is not exposed to any unacceptable risk. In terms of the delivery timetable, we are working on a skills plan and also looking to invest in additional resources in consenting teams to ensure the investment zones related to decisions are appropriately supported and accelerated. In summary, this is an important high-profile opportunity for Newport. We have the opportunity to unlock accelerated potential of the semiconductor cluster in our city by supporting high-tech advanced manufacturing jobs and ensuring that our young people have skills to meet the growing demand of this sector. We're ensuring that these are future employment opportunities for our residents as well as skilled workforce for our businesses. We're being asked to note the progress on South East Wales investment zone, supporting the signing of a memorandum of understanding and supporting the governance arrangements in place for delivery and management of the investment zone. Colleagues, any questions, queries, observations on this agenda item? Councillor Clark.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
That's the kick under the table, you go. Yeah, I think, as I said, sort of there's a lot being said here and there's a lot to take in, but I think sort of the bread and butter of this is huge for Newport. This is huge for the future of Newport. You know, I think it was mentioned potential 4,000 jobs and the millions of pounds investment and how that has a knock-on effect to the whole of the city centre. So obviously, we're behind this, but I would, you know, there's a lot on our agendas as the leader is sort of going through. But I'd take people to time out to have a look at this, because sort of the children of Newport, where we're saying it's the fastest growing city in Newport, this will have a massive effect for them in the future in their jobs. So if people can take the time to read this and look into it, and you know, we're sitting here in Newport on a rainy Wednesday afternoon, but what's happening with the semiconductors and what's happening with the growth within Newport is getting recognised throughout Europe and the world now. So, you know, as much as we can go through this in 5 or 6 minutes, the implications and the ripple effect this is having elsewhere is massive, and that can only be for a benefit of Newport. So I just want to make that point.
Thank you, Councillor Clark. I know there's a lot of key people will talk Newport down and talk about the past and the industries of the past. These are industries of the now and the future. And, you know, microchips, AI, digital, that is the new wave, and we have to be on that wave. We can't be left behind. It's time for Newport to be at front of the wave, not behind the wave. And I've said that consistently since becoming leader, and I will not deviate from that position. And this report confirms the importance of not only the cluster to Newport and all those jobs, but also to the UK, because this is a UK national security issue as well. Can I have approval in a second, Councillor Starcourt and Councillor Mark Spencer. Item 10. Thank God, Councillor Emma Starcourt.
Thank you, Leader. This report arises from a petition submitted to the Council on the 19th of December 2025 concerning the Old Green Roundabout. The petition has been considered by the Overview and Scrutiny Management Committee at its meeting on the 12th of March 2026, and I thank them for their work. In considering the petition, the committee noted that any substantive proposals related to the Old Green Roundabout have arisen from the Welsh Government rather than the Council. The committee directed that the petition be referred to Cabinet and recommended that Cabinet should note the petition and refer it to Welsh Government for consideration. And the purpose of this report is to give effect to that direction and enable Cabinet to determine how to respond. This is a procedural report and does not seek to approve or reject any transport proposals. Therefore, can I ask Cabinet that we note the petition and refer it to Welsh Government for consideration in line with the Overview and Scrutiny Management Committee recommendation.
Thank you, Councillor Starcourt and Councillor Clark.
Yeah, I just want to add on to that. I think sort of, yeah, we've got the document in front of us, and I think what's being suggested today is the right decision to make, to send it up to Welsh Government. But I'd just like to thank the cross-party scrutiny committee for putting these recommendations forward.
Absolutely, it's exactly what scrutiny functions should do. It's exactly how democracy should work. People who signed that petition have some strong feelings and are concerned, and it's quite right. It goes to Welsh Government and at least get some of the answers around some of the technical questions raised. So absolutely, can I have an approval in a second of this report, please? Councillor Clark, Councillor Dan. Okay, agenda item 11, the work programme. Can I please have a mover and a seconder for the work? Councillor Clark, Councillor Dan. Colleagues, thank you. Have a great afternoon. Enjoy the rain. This concludes this meeting. Thank you. Bye-bye.